What up, boys? It's the two-time champ. Welcome you back to the
One time
podcast. We got our first in-season podcast after our draft recap. We got a new guest today taking Chris's place. It's your friendly neighborhood Chad. No generic Sonics jersey this time. He thinks he's stunting because somebody took him to the mall one time. All right,
he upgraded the size of jersey. Look how not thick he looking today. He didn't lose weight, people. It's just the jersey.
My boy's never thick.
We also got Matt. We got Matt joining us from Cali. Shout out to Matt for helping us out and recording this again on his premium Zoom account for the corporate stars, if you will. And basically, we're just going to have a quicker episode today. Going to do kind of a power rankings, breakout, bust. I've got a few topics I'm going to ask Matt and Chad to debate. And that's pretty much, what we'll do. And then maybe, a prediction for who wins this week in each of the matchups. So just to start, we're talking about the NBA this week. Obviously, last night, Steph went crazy. We were talking about it in the chat. It was wild to watch it. I was loving watching it because the Warriors were actually running some pretty wild shit to get him open. Dre and Steph had this pick and roll that he gave the ball to Dre on the roll. Dre stopped his roll, turned around, and turned it into a handoff. It was awesome, man. And so that was pretty dope. So I'm just wondering how you guys are feeling about the Warriors, Matt. We'll let you go ahead and start us off today. I know we're only, 4 or 5 games in. I believe they're 3-3, which is, probably better than we all expected after we watched the first couple of games. How you feeling about Dre coming back? How'd he look? And how you feeling about the Warriors?
Honestly, dude, I would say as a whole, they surprised me a little bit when they beat Portland, and realistically, I thought that they were going to struggle this year and it was going to be a transition, especially with Clay out, but it's more, I think it shows, and I've told you guys this before when we've talked about the Warriors, is I think Draymond is a key piece, whether or not it shows on the stat sheet. It's not only on the defensive side, is that they do run the offense through him. So it was
short, man. I was selling him short. He is much more important than I thought
he was. It's like night and day. The Warriors are night and day. And then, with the development of Wiseman, I'm a little frustrated that Kerr doesn't play him more. And I feel like this is how it's going to be all year. Because I don't like Looney. He's just so slow, and he's a serviceable player, but in my opinion, I'm just not a fan. But as a whole, Warriors look good. Kelly Oubre is on, my bust list so far. But I think he has a lot of time to develop an offense. And, Wiggins has already been there last year, so he's a little more comfortable playing around other players.
1 for 30 is rough from three, boy.
Yeah. Well, he made another one. He made another one yesterday, so I think he's 2 for something. But still, he's still firing.
I figure he can only go up, and if he's already a 30-point player, if he starts making shots, hopefully he's a 36, 37-point player.
And to think,
we'll see.
Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be the worst of those picks.
And by season's end, I think he will be. But right now, Wiggins does look good. I think Wiggins bothers me.
Now.
Wiggins bothers me because he needs to be more assertive because of all his talent. He needs to drive to the basket. Same like Oubre. That bothers me. And it also bothers me about Steph Curry is Curry needs to play like that every game. Or not play like that. He's not going to score 60. I'm saying he needs to be more assertive, and he's not. And it's frustrating to watch. I'm like, bro, you need to Allen Iverson this shit and just take over all these games. And he's not doing it as of yet.
I feel that, son. I know Oubre isn't shooting great, but he is catching bodies. He's been dunking at least once, twice a game.
Bro, he his highlight reel by the end of the year is going to be amazing. The guy's one of the coolest looking dunkers I've seen in a while. The left-handed dunk is just so cool to me.
Andrew Wiggins has actually got his defense up too. He's playing pretty good.
That's why they invested in him. And same with Oubre was fucking guarding Dame all night. So it's like they defensively. It's like Clay is a little better. Dame was going around Oubre a lot. I was like, why is he guarding him? But he's long. So the step backs, he had him, so it was tough for him to make them. Dame, that is. But in my opinion, the Warriors are along at the wings, which is nice. I just think Curry really has to take over every game for them to be successful. And if he
Oubre's
struggles,
frustrating. He's one of those dudes that has incredible point of attack defense, but when
Yep.
he's off ball, that motherfucker is on another planet.
I think he's thinking. Yeah, he looks like he's looking somewhere else. So, but I mean,
He's on another planet when he's off the ball.
As far as the West, I still don't see the Warriors as a playoff team. I see them as a back end, like they could be fighting for a spot. But it's like I got to be realistic, and with myself at least, and being a fan, and as you guys have come to know me, it's like I shoot straight. So it's like I see them outside of the playoff hunt right now with the way they look.
Warriors are a playoff team?
Warriors are a playoff team?
Are they?
Respect to me, no.
All right, so we all see it the same way there. Warriors might fall short. Although I'm sure we're all a lot more hopeful today than we were.
Oh yeah,
before that
and they
game.
look good today. It's like 19-5, so but it is the Kings, but still it looks good.
Yo, tell me anybody else is on Twitter and saw the Kings. Their parents arguing on Twitter is hilarious. Marvin Bagley asked the Kings to trade his son, Marvin Bagley III. And then Tyrese Halliburton's mom was like, oh, I don't want them to trade my son because he's going to help them be a new team, basically. And then De'Aaron Fox's dad was like, fuck it, trade Marvin Bagley. And it all happened in the span of a couple hours.
Oh, shit.
Crazy, bro.
That's
it's
awesome.
True AAU parent generation.
I didn't know it went down like that. I just know I knew the first tweet. I didn't know the rest of it. That's fucking awesome.
Last night, bro, I'm scrolling and the Sacramento Kings blogger is like, a third parent has checked in. And it was just like, oh my God.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
All right, so now I'm gonna hit you guys with a couple either or. I'm gonna give you two players that are kind of similar, in my opinion, in terms of the possible future ups and downs, and we'll see what you guys think. Chad, we'll start with you. For the rest of the season, would you rather have Karl Anthony Towns or Luka Doncic? Luka?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not worried about him so far. You feel like he's all right.
In the long run, I think Cat has bigger problems, not to talk too much about his personal life or that shouldn't really affect, but it's like Jimmy Butler was saying, no disrespect, a lot of people are built like Michael Jordan where you can have a death in the family and come out and have that motivate you. Some people are just have different emotional grades and how they deal with stuff. And I think Cat's more in tune.
And then get hurt on top of that.
And then they hurt. And so, I don't think he's going to be he's still going to put up numbers, but I'd be surprised if Cat averages over 45 for the season if he does come back.
Matt, you agree there? You taking Doncic over Cat for the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an obvious choice for Doncic, and it's more as well is one thing you always factor in is how many players are on that team. And the Mavs don't have anyone, and the Wolves do. They got a number one pick as well who likes to shoot. So, I mean, it's clear-cut choice, and including statistics around the board. But being a Cat owner, he's very consistent. And I would argue for health, but this kind of makes it a little suspect. But it's he's been injured before. I remember him missing time for me. He will be good, but I think he's better than 45 points. I think he's top 5 points wise when healthy, so he'll be good.
When he comes back,
he's been.
So, but you're still taking Doncic.
No doubt, no brainer, dude. And healthy right now.
3.
No brainer. I'd rather win this week than lose this week.
Okay, word. Matt, Westbrook or Trey for this season?
Oh, I like Westbrook.
That's right.
I think he's number one. I really, by season's end, I think he could be number one in points. So it's going to probably be him and Harden. If Harden stays healthy, doesn't sit a lot of games, and stays on the Rockets.
Oh, no. You know who number 2 is.
Unfortunately, Jokic is probably the other guy that's going to be challenging. And in both of our leagues, the same guy, both Westbrook and Jokic.
I mean, the way Westbrook can easily put up a triple-double is nice. And,
pedestrian for Jokic. He walk out his bed, put on some slip slaps.
But Westbrook gonna miss games. Trey is not gonna miss. But Chad, you agree there? You taking Westbrook as well?
Oh no, I'll probably take Trey.
Ooh, okay.
Because if you're a fantasy season, like you never know when that can come to bite you. Especially if say the Wizards are they're deep in the playoffs and they can afford to like sit him a couple games. They don't need him to make.
They ain't gonna be deep though.
Huh?
They're not gonna be deep.
No, I'm just saying
they're 1-5. They start off like 1-6.
I'm saying if they can afford to sit late in the season, afford to sit Russell Westbrook more games,
they're gonna sit him.
They need him. I think they would more than likely sit Russell Westbrook, and that affects a fantasy team when you're deep into the
well, if we're talking playoffs, I mean, I completely agree with you. But if we're talking season, I think Westbrook is just a better fantasy player for this type of league. I love Trae Young. I own him. I drafted him. I picked him early. We all said we picked him early, but it's value wise, Westbrook was a risk. That's why he fell. But I think steady, if he plays the game, bro, that's all we can go off of right now. You can't say, he's gonna miss game, he's gonna get injured. It's like, well, now he's better. He's better right now. They both play tonight. Westbrook is gonna outscore Trae Young.
But his question was if the season, so in the season, who would you rather have? And that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the Wizards. If they're
honestly, then I'll change my pick. If playoffs are considered, then it's clear cut. You could trust Trae Young to play.
Yeah, and that's all I was saying. Obviously, I think Russ.
I agree with you.
But it might not it might hurt you in the playoffs.
If you get to the playoffs and Russ has a 3-game week.
That's a risk. Fuck that. See if 100%. I would not take that. I agree. I agree with you there. But if I'm taking
spicier, who are you taking for this rest of this season? Christian Wood or Zion Williamson?
Christian Wood. I was watching the game.
That's quite the turnaround from what you had to say.
And I was wrong.
A couple weeks ago, boy.
I agree, and I was wrong. And it's honestly, it's more after watching tonight's game too, which is the first game I watched live for the Rockets. It's so easy for Harden and Wall to get him the ball, dude. Yeah, he was just dude's fucking wide. And I was concerned about him because when watching the Pistons games, because I watched a few of them when he played last year, is that he almost needed the ball. He couldn't he wasn't as good of a shooter. He's just he's blowing my mind with all these threes and everything he's doing, dude. So
he looks like fucking Anthony Davis.
He's playing very, very well.
Apparently, just a little side note: Victor Oladipo had a steal, hit a 3. Miles Turner got a steal, hit a 3, and sent the Pelicans game into overtime.
Right at the end of the game. Oh my God. Well, we got Pelicans and the Pacers in overtime in the back there.
Perfect.
All right,
Perfect
Chad,
for me today.
Chad, Wood or Zion?
I would take again. You're talking about people who are going to be healthy. Zion is a risk. The way he plays, his body matches his style, whatever. So you can see him getting injured, being out for a couple weeks. So,
and he's a bust so far, in my opinion. I think he's a bust so far.
No, he's been great, but
he's not. You think he's a bust so far?
I think in my opinion, so far, I expected more. Is all. He's not on my good list.
I mean, he's on a pretty deep team though, as far as offensively scoring.
He's still
Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball. Yeah. You got
He's looked good.
Huh?
He's looked good, but he's not. There is a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of guys. There's a ton of guys.
Yeah, you're looking for the upside, right, of a player's game. They get a lot of blocks, offensive rebounds, whatever. Chris, move your head.
Zion only got 48 points tonight.
And Wood
got 36.
Wood is up to 2 blocks a game. No.
Get it.
All right, so I'm gonna take. I'm probably taking Christian Wood here because, like Matt said, the dude looks like Anthony Davis. All right, next question is gonna be Chad. Who are you taking between for the rest of the season? Pascal Siakam or Devin Booker?
Pascal Siakam is one of my busts.
Pacers come away with the win, by the way.
Pascal Siakam is one of my busts. No disrespect, but they played him a lot to be pretty much the star of the team, and so far he's not done so good. And I just think, who's that again?
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. No, wait, I was going to say, Devin Booker is also a bust as well. He was on somebody's bust list, and he was like floating one of my top 3 for bust, but obviously he's a better player with a better upside.
Devin Booker, even though Chris Paul's in there taking a lot of touches.
But Chris Paul is injury prone too, so you never know when that's going to go down. So like I said, upside for Devin Booker is really there. And, Pascal is on that team, obviously Kawhi made that team really good and stuff like that, but the team is really, like, Fred VanVleet's the best player on that team.
He's balling tonight.
Both fantasy and, like, actually.
That's
like,
for sure. He's
Fred
balling
VanVleet is actually the best player, so I definitely would hope that Pascal starts to get better, like, confidence and stuff. But I will
say that Devin Booker usually starts slow and finishes a lot stronger than he starts. Matt, you take in Pascal over Devin Booker?
No. I prefer Devin Booker, and I preferred him from the beginning. And they're both on the bust list for sure, hardcore. But it's a matter of, you just got to go off the past couple of years, dude. And Booker's just done his thing. He's progressed every year. Like I said, last podcast, you and I were high on him. We've owned him every year. So, and it's more, we like Siakam. I like Siakam too. Clearly I own him. But I'm kind of surprised by just, overall, he's just, he hasn't, he's still getting the ball. I watched one of the games, still getting the ball, but it's just the production is just down in general.
That's your white glass, Chris, if you gonna leave it.
Well,
think you're a sniper?
Seems like we just covered a lot of our breakout and bust, so let's move into that. I'm going to give you my list first. I just did a top 3 for the breakouts and a top 3 for the busts. The breakouts were in terms who I thought was bringing the most value, so I've got a kind of mid-round pick and a couple guys that came off the waiver wire and are in the top 50 right now. So my breakout list is Christian Wood, who we discussed at length. And then I got Terry Rozier and Larry Nance Jr., who are both killing it on rosters right now. It took people a while to pick them up, but somehow it's looking like both of those guys. It was looking like Terry Rozier was going to get buried, but Devonta Graham has struggled in Charlotte. LaMelo is starting to play well. Maybe Terry Rozier even gets that shooting guard spot over Devonta Graham. He's averaging 24 points a game. Who knows? And then Larry Nance Jr. next to Drummond is apparently a thing. He's always had that ability. He used to wow us in LA with the dunks and everything, but now apparently he's putting it together into like a full game. And then for my busts, I did a couple dudes that were high picks. I've got Jimmy Butler and Devin Booker. Jimmy Butler, obviously a much greater disappointment so far than Devin Booker in terms of fantasy style. Obviously, Jimmy Butler doesn't give a fuck about your fantasy team. I think we can all say that with confidence. And my final bust is Kelly Oubre Jr. You can't start with the worst shooting streak in the history of the league and not make this list. So it broke my heart, but Kelly Oubre Jr. is going to be my bust. Matt, breakouts, busts?
Chad, I got a long list. So Chad, if you got something to say, I'll avoid Andre's guys.
Okay, yeah. So mine, I kept it kind of tight myself. So my good picks or booms or whatever. I think De'Aaron Fox was a late round pick, and obviously his trajectory is like massive. So if you picked him up, I think he got drafted in our 8th, 9th, or 10th round like that. So like for his production value, the 8th round is crazy. Also, RJ Barrett is also like a slow starter, but he's averaged pretty good points. He was drafted in the 10th or 11th round, so like
he's going off today.
Yeah, he had like 57 today as well, and he's had like a few 40 points, 30. I think he had like 120, 14, but that was in the beginning of the season. So I feel like he's coming to his own. The Knicks are like feeling swaggy. The Knicks are not terrible. People think Tom Thibodeau, who's a decent guy, is like, brought some kind of structure to them. So I think RJ Barrett right now is going to be, a pretty good pick when you draft him. And a good pick for me is Vucevic, obviously a 4th round pick, but one of the top scorers in the league, a top 5 scorer right now, average and fucking total point scorer. He's in like top 5 in both. And so Vooch got drafted in the 4th round and is doing better than a majority of the people that drafted him way above him. I know people were scared of him because he was a center, but I mean, he got the dimes, he got the points, he got the blocks. So he's just a very all-around player. So like he's averaging like close to 50.
He's still teams in the ranking, not 5.
For points.
You heard that. He's 13th. It's not 5, but it's still a good pick.
That's still, yeah, exactly.
Onto your bus.
Right, that's still a good pick, though, because, that's still like 26.
Basically, this is a fuck you to Matt. Congrats, Chad. You got to stick it to Matt on your king.
It's fucking 2 weeks, dude.
No, hey, 2 weeks we're going to do another podcast, and we're going to talk about it.
Sure.
But the chances are he's not. Bus, I'm going to go with Cat just because, there's like, it was always, obviously you got drafted in the 1st round, but it was always a risky pick, and with the injury and whatever, he's obviously going to be good, but I just think like he's going to be shaky, and like you could have drafted another player at the spot you got him at. Nurkic was a 40-plus point scorer last year. He's a 26 average in, probably a slow start, but he's not doing too good.
Kids are outshining that boy.
Yeah, but I have a feeling like he's gonna come into it. He's just taking his time, whatever. But yeah, he's definitely a disappointment because he should be a way better player, stat wise and fantasy wise than he is right now. And then I got Blake Griffin. Obviously, we already had questions about him, but like he's obviously like a shell of himself. Who knows what Blake Griffin is now into basketball? He's still a pretty good player, but
I saw a stat that 60% of his shots so far has been 3-pointers. I ain't watched much Pistons basketball, but goddamn.
Exactly. So that's a Blake Griffin none of us thought we'd be seeing like in our late years. That's like a literal time. And then honorary mention was Pascal Siakam. We already talked about it, so I really need to go into that. But definitely a big disappointment as far as like how much production we should have had. We weren't expecting great. Then he should at least be, especially with this new format, he should have been getting at least 45 points a night.
Matt, what about you? Breakouts and busts so far?
All right. So the long list that I have, I'll do a little rapid fire. I got Westbrook's doing well for his ADP. CJ McCollum was I think he was top 10 right now in points.
McCollum's balling for Chris for sure. Balling.
John Wall's look really good.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris, I believe, is top 25. Kyrie Irving's look better than ADP. Sabonis is top 10. Or top 15. He's looked really good. I got Vukovic on that list. Julius Randle needs to be on there. Top 20 player.
Man, going crazy.
He went off again tonight. Jaylen Brown needs to be on there. I thought you reached, but he's top 10 right now. Jeremy Grant needs to be on there 100%. One of the best late round steals. Oladipo needs to be on there. He's playing very consistently. I was concerned with everyone they had. Sexton was an excellent ADP pick.
Yeah,
Mike Conley was a good pickup off the waivers. Sam Nance.
Huge pickup.
I actually thought Donald had a lot of steals, but a lot of them hasn't panned out yet. But a few of them, Michael Porter's played well.
Donald got some scoops off the waiver wire.
He picked up Harrison Barnes. I like RJ Barrett's on that list, like Chad said. But including other guys like Kyle Anderson, Keldon Johnson, Miles Plumlee, Darius Garland, Marcus Smart, Rashawn Holmes.
Keldon Johnson going crazy. That boy is good.
OG Anunoby and Jared Allen, efficiency-wise, is insane. DeAndre Jordan doesn't deserve to be on the floor after watching these games. He's going to lose them.
It's so wild. DeAndre Jordan gets the time,
He's going to lose them a playoff game. It's disgusting on the floor. So, outside of that list, my favorite breakouts, I would say, same with Andre is Wood. Randall's been stupid where I drafted him. Realistically, I think McCollum is honestly my favorite pick. I didn't expect him to play this well, but I was thinking about it yesterday when the Warriors were playing him. He's probably one of the most consistent and reliable players you can draft in fantasy by far. And
he's skilled.
It's so funny. He looks so relaxed when the ball's in his hands. It's funny, but he's not very good.
The skill is crazy. CJ. Wow.
I liked him even more. And then bust wise, it's a little smaller, but it's still a decent list. names mentioned: Booker, Butler, Nurkic. Those guys, Siakam. We mentioned Doncic. I think Lillard's been a little slow out of the gates.
You have faith.
Adebayo hasn't put up the huge numbers like we were expecting. He's been great, but he hasn't put up 2020s or whatever. Not big games like I was expecting personally. I'm sure Chris was too. I know he picked up second round maybe. But
Third pick of the second.
On that list was also Marcus Aldridge has hardly played. That was always my concern with drafting him. Old guys. Brandon Clark has been shit.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, bro.
DeAndre Ayton hasn't looked very good. With all they thought with Chris Paul adding was going to be good. Not really. John Collins has looked good lately, but I mean he really started off the season very slow. I'm still not sure he's going to have a great season or not.
And he just is a square and a round peg there. He just needs to find a new home where he can.
I agree. Especially with Clint Capella there too. It's just there's a lot of guys, but it's a good team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has come out the gate, slow. I don't even, like we were talking. I'm not sure if he's top. I think he's top 40, but he's not top 30. Donovan Mitchell, I was always concerned about because he's such a scorer. He's been low on the list. Like I said, Zion to me is on my list because I expected more. I thought where Chris got him was a good pick. Fucking lower guys on there: Kevin Love, Marvin Bagley, T.J. Warren, Covington, Whiteside, Gallinari. Fultz hasn't done what I expected. Hero hasn't done what I expected. Kobe White hasn't done what I expected.
Hero's not been terrible,
but he's been good. He's been good, but it's just so on and off. You don't know what you're gonna get.
You got to hope they keep playing him at point guard because if they take him off the ball, it's going to get frustrating.
Even worse. And then with Towns out, D'Angelo Russell hasn't panned out like I expected.
Looking rough in Minnesota, bro.
Lonzo Ball hasn't done what I expected, and kind of Eric Bledsoe and him both look like shit. And Bledsoe's on my list too. Devontae Graham's on my list. Montrezl Harrell he's efficient and he looks like a good bench player and he'll do good in real life, but I mean he might be a little limited. Aaron Gordon's had an injury. He hasn't played much. Evan Fournier's looked a little off for Orlando. He's always been super consistent like the last 4 years. And Obi Toppin hasn't played, and there was a lot of hype behind him, so I'm just kind of curious. I put him at the bottom. So those are
somebody's stashing him on their IL. I don't remember.
They should.
Yeah, he's stashed on the IL. All right. Well, now that we covered a lot about the NBA, we're just gonna go over the power rankings. Now, Chad and I ended up with the same list, so we'll just go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Each of us give our team and just see how much we disagree on. Because from what I just heard, a little tidbit preview of Matt's list, he's got Chad at 5, which is going to be a far cry from our list. So, Matt, who's the bottom of the barrel here? Who's struggling right now to open the season?
So actually, these rankings are a little tough for me, and there isn't a clear-cut favorite or like a clear-cut worst team to me. And I think like a lot could change, and that comes with an 18 league. And it's more that there's just a lot of players that you can fluctuate in between that can pan out quite nice for your team. Maybe not so much anymore, but everyone's team is kind of rounded out, and they've picked up everyone's made transactions and picked up some good players. So everyone's team's deep right now. And I made a list, and I do have guys in order, but I really think between the first 4 and the last 4, it's like it could go anyway. And as of right now, I think they're shoo-in for 4 teams, and there's, something could happen to one of these teams, and it's more due to depth. And I think each team that's on my top 4 and each team that's my bottom 4 is lacking at depth or has a lot more depth than the other teams. And this time again, I did my numbers to where I pointed out every team that has top 20 guys, top 50 guys, and top 80 guys. top 80 guys are guys that should be owned. Top 50 guys, or so top 80 guys are guys that are starters. Top 50 is just to do top 50, and top 20 is like the premier players right now. So I'll rattle off this list first, and then I'll do my power rankings. So the list off top was the most total, and I added these up as a total sum. The top of the list was me with 22, Andre with 21, Jake with 20, Chad with 19, and then it went Donald, Edward, Ray, and Chris, all the same number. So it's but as far those do not.
What was that number?
And that was all at 17.
Okay.
So it's an average of 20, 50, and 80, and that's all added up at the end. And
that was fairly close, right? I mean, it's all fairly close. It's all within 6.
Yeah. So I'll start off the bottom as well, like you guys are gonna do. And I put Edouard as the top bottom 3 when I initially did my ratings, but I put his team at the bottom. It's just a severe lax in depth. I thought that he took a lot of good gambles, but it honestly, I mean, few of them paid out. And like we said, his team is old and young. It's like a mixture. He had he's had a couple of nice waiver wire pickups, but as a whole, I think it's very limited. And he's like players like DeMarcus Cousins and Will Barton and Otto Porter, those types of players. I'm not Buddy Hield. I'm not huge on.
He's got to get rid of Will Barton.
Yeah, and you know, and then with addition, I love KD and LeBron, but they will impact his time later. So that's
happening in real time as we speak.
It's already happening. And actually, the biggest drop from my previous rankings next is actually Ray's team. And
well, we agree on our bottom 2. All 3 of us. We got Edouard and Ray down there.
So Ray's team it's funny because number wise and average wise, I had him at the top in our last video, and I changed it to Donald because I feel like Donald was like, dude, I don't know if you did fucking research beforehand or what, dude, because you snagged a lot of like guys in later rounds like RJ Barrett and stuff and because this draft caught me off guard a little bit. I didn't do all my research, but by the time my research was done, you had a lot of good steals. That's why I made the comment after the first or middle of the first week. But Ray's team as a whole is just fucking falling apart, dude, and the depth is terrible. And you know, with Aaron Gordon there, Bledsoe there, you know, PJ Washington didn't pan out. You got Devontae Graham, Jimmy Butler looks like crap. You know, it's like Steven Adams is doing a little less than I expected. You know, it's as a whole, it's pretty suspect and kind of surprising, you know, with what we said. But it's as a whole, I'm not too confident in Ray's team whatsoever. Next I have is Jake, and Jake is top heavy in my opinion. He's got a quality set of high-end players, like 5 guys that are stupid, but it falls off. And there's a couple other ones that I do like outside of his top 5, you know, like Brogdon and Lowry and stuff. But outside of Doncic and Ingram and Wood and Drummond and Beal, and actually Paul George, so make that 6. It falls off really hard for his team. But with those 6, it's not a fucking bad thing to have at all. A top quality 6 that you can depend on every week. So I put Jake there.
We agree on the bottom 3. This is where the list.
This is where it starts to. Next I have is Chad, as everyone knows. And it's more with me. The reason why I have Chad there is because I'll rattle off I guess a list of guys I'm concerned about, and I guess it's more that there's a lot of uncertainties. And so, like, let's just say if Markelle Fultz continues, I think where he got picked is a bust. And then Malcolm or Brogdon Bogdanovich, you guys know I'm not a fan of, and he hasn't played very well as of right now. Terrence Ross it was an excellent pickup, and But I think he over last couple of years he's the same player, you know, and
it always takes off. He always starts.
Every year it does. With Markel Fultz probably panning out a little more, and Aaron Gordon coming back healthy. I think it's going to hit his production very hard.
That's got to be Orlando Magic players, so watch out.
Mason Plumlee, good pickup. He was on my shit, so I think that he's going to be consistent all year. He's going to start, and he does a little bit of everything.
I think it's tonight.
Andrew Wiggins is a concern of mine, as everyone knows. I think Kelly Oubre develops more. I think Steph takes more shots. I think, you know, the ball goes in Draymond's hands more. Wiggins has looked good, but I think that there's going to be less touches for him. He's going to need to be more efficient, and he's not an efficient player. Mitchell Robinson and Vukovic are good players, but honestly, outside of that, I like Jokic and Westbrook, of course. You know, they're both right now top 5 in my opinion. So, and I think they'll be all season. But when you look at Blake Griffin, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, they're all great players, but they're all huge risks. And they're, as Chad was arguing with Westbrook compared to Trae Young, that all 3 of those players are going to take a dump on him in the playoffs. And we all know this, and it's clear cut. So it's going to be a struggle. And then with Jordan Clarkson, clear. I wasn't a fan from the beginning. I'm not huge on him. I believe he still comes off the bench. I don't like bench players. And then lastly, I think Kyle Anderson gets impacted by the comeback of Morant, and then, you know, in line, everyone else is going to come. So I think he's going to be dropped as well. So it's like, in the end, it's really a 50-50 team to me. It looks good right now. It will be successful. It will, and it's in my playoff picture. So I think it's going to be still a good team, but I feel like it's going to get hit hard at the back end of the season.
Well, Matt just proficiently broke my man here down and gave him the 5th seed. And Chad, I'll let you tell Matt who you have in 5th.
I got Matt.
Tell me why, Chad.
Because Matt's team sucks.
Wow.
Case in point.
Well, let's hear. I would like to hear a rebuttal first about your team.
Rebuttal? Well,
yeah, because I will give you an efficient one.
Look. Yeah. I'll give you some. Let me just give you some. All right.
Or what I was incorrect on.
You're confused on my text earlier, so I'm gonna say to you this, sir. That I want to take over this segment. So I'm gonna make it short. Of the total points scored by players, fantasy-wise, right? You understand what I'm saying? Matt? Is he here?
He's here.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 of the 20 of them.
Okay.
That is, I can't do math right now.
So 5th.
That's a 5th of the top scoring players in the league, all on my team. I have the number 1 fantasy scorer in the league right now, right? And I get you're saying my players might buckle down and some might go down. Russell Westbrook is still 13th on that list and is 2nd in averages, right? When it comes to average, I have 3 of the top 5 players. Sir, I humbly beg you to tell me how, because I have 50.
Is that all you got? Because I gave you that.
What about the bottom?
I literally gave that to you, dude.
I'm also scoring the 2nd most points. So it's
right,
like,
dude,
right,
I'm saying we're 2 weeks in. I'm talking long term here, brother, and it's
all right. Bogdanovich is gonna get. We have 2 extra roster spots. So Bogdanovich.
I agree, but okay. What about Terrence Ross?
Throw him too.
What about Kyle Anderson? What about Jordan Clarkson?
I'm keeping Jordan Clarkson. The average for the players is 30 points, 32 points. Why would I throw away a player that's averaging?
I'm good,
points?
bro. He's averaging 22 minutes a game. I don't want someone 22 minutes a game on my team.
But you have players on your team that are averaging less than 30.
I said 22.
Jordan Clarkson's
no, he's talking about fantasy points.
Fantasy points.
Oh, I don't care, man. It's a matter of upside. Like if you're saying, please, go into your power rankings about my team, and I'll do my rebuttal, and I would humbly defend majority of my players outside of 2.
All right.
Kevin Love one of those.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not on my team.
Not even on the squad.
He's not on my team.
I hear you. All right.
I'm fucking with you, Matt.
You have
Now, just a reminder, Matt so far today has scored 324 points.
Matt is killing it today,
with
Matt.
6 quarters left to go.
yeah.
Let him go.
But I'm not gonna stay here. Why? We're not doing a podcast.
But
I
it's
had
2 weeks.
50.
2 weeks.
Huh?
You're talking 5 games. Like, I'm sorry, dude. It's 5 games, but I like to go off of previous things and like upside. So please, dude, I'll defend every player outside of Wendell Carter, Dortz, and Draymond Green. Every other player I'll defend into the ground. That
Marvin Bagley?
Yes. Upside, man. He hasn't even played. The coach has made it open. The coach has made it open. He's gonna get the ball. Like, I don't care. Like, with everything going on,
Just say
like,
you don't.
dude, I'm not concerned. I'm really not. You're not gonna take someone over these players. You're not gonna take someone over Doncic or Trae Young and not invest in the guy. I'm sorry. Who cares about what the coach says? Klay Thompson's dad said, "Oh, Klay Thompson wants to get traded to some other team." He said it on Twitter before. He said that, "Oh, Klay Thompson's not going to be a Warrior in the future." Dude, who cares what these parents say? Who cares about LeVar Ball? Who cares? Like, I'm just saying. Like, congratulations, dude. I'm just saying, dude. That's not a point.
Wait. Where do you have a W5, Dre? Who's W5?
Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley has not had a 30-point fantasy game.
He hasn't even played 30 minutes, dude. He hasn't even played let's see. 27 minutes is his biggest game he's played, and that's it, dude.
25.
No, he's not.
He has 27, 21, 27, 23, 26, 25. What do you mean?
I think he's averaging like 23, brother, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean,
now that we got that out the way.
No. Honestly, Chad, I was expecting more, and you
Marvin
disappointed
Bagley's
me.
averaging 24.8. That's all I'm saying.
Chad, you disappointed me. I broke down every one of your players, and you literally
I mean, if
had
you
nothing
think,
for me.
let's see if the
You just said a number. This dude just said a number.
What do you read?
That's the numbers, Matt.
So he named one guy. Sorry.
You have average players, though. That's what I'm saying. When you're talking about
name
top
him.
20,
Name
top
him.
30,
Name him.
who are your top players? How many players do you have in the top 10?
Chad,
It's not about top 10, man. I
That's what I'm
got
saying.
dude.
You're talking about the upside.
So
of
if
your
you have me ranked higher than you, even though you probably won't pay me, how much will you bet that my team will finish higher than yours?
I will easily bet you $100.
Uh-oh.
We got our first
Easily
podcast.
Okay.
Blah.
Matt said he's going to take it out of his fantasy winnings this year.
Yeah.
No,
I
my
will
fantasy
bet
wins in the other league.
I will bet you $100 that my team finishes better than your team. My Venmo is at habitual ATX. Hit me up.
Okay. I've tried before, and I haven't gotten it.
Damn. Yo. Rob, I love it.
It worked out.
All right, at 4. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I also had Matt at 5. This is more of a reflection of what's happened in the first 2 weeks than anything. Ben Simmons has let him down. I don't see that continuing. I think Ben Simmons is going to pull it together because I don't think Daryl Morey is going to allow him to just be like this sparingly used point forward that he's been used as so far. I think Pascal is going to put it together. He's got Julius Randle balling. But my problem is on the bench with the health. I think I see what he's doing with Derek White and, Jaren Jackson Jr., the fact that there's not a lot of weight put on the regular season games this year because 6 out of the 8 teams are making the playoffs. So you really just want to be rounded into form come week 13, 14. So I see the vision, but I don't know how much Draymond Green is going to improve fantasy stats wise.
Agreed.
Lou Dort.
Agreed.
You know, it's just no telling what Sam Presti's going to do as he, you know, runs this tankathon over there, and you never know what's going to happen with Lou Dort. Wendell Carter Jr. is a dude that I loved last year, and this year, for some reason, Bulls fans hate him, and homeboy doesn't really, like, get a legit shot. So I don't know if he's going to pan out anymore. The games I watch, he, like, disappears for a quarter and a half at a time. But DeRozan, Murray, Randall, Siakam, Tatum, Simmons, Van Fleet, Trae Young. That's going to be a pretty hard to handle if Matt's bench comes into form. At 4, me and Chad both had Chris. Me and Chad both kind of argued a little bit about Matt and Chris flipping them between 4 and 5. We weren't sure who should go where. I was kind of in Matt's camp. The top 4, or for me, the top 5 were even pretty hard to separate. Chris has Tyus Jones and Monte Morris. Those are temporary roster spots. So, you know, those are basically 2 empty spots. The rest of his team has some overachievers, but with people like Murray struggling so far until recently, Booker struggling. I just don't know how high Chris's ceiling is when we don't even know if Anthony Davis is going to be the guy he was in the bubble. Matt, who do you have it for?
So like I said in when I did my ratings, I think that it could go between Donald, Chris, Andre, and myself. And initially when I was doing these rankings, I had myself at 3 between Chris and Andre, and then I ended up putting myself at 4, only because of how my team started so far. Like I said, you know, Andre, you named 3 guys you were suspect on. You know, everyone else is pretty consistent. So if it's just 3 guys, then I'll take 3 guys, dude. I can name. I had you right above me at 3. I can name, you know, more than 3. I know Rozier started off hot. I don't like the guard situation. You know, Gordon Hayward there too. It's just a lot going on with ball panning out. I
also have myself in 3.
I see Oladipo taking a step back a bit. I see Jaylen Brown taking a step back. I see Oubre taking a step forward. Giannis is going to do his thing. Capella's back to form. John Wall looks good. Levine looks good. LeVert is going to be a great fill-in with Irving and Durant there. He's clearly the number 3 scoring option there.
Dinwiddie
so that's going to be nice.
As much as Spencer Dinwiddie, him getting hurt was huge for me with Karis LeVert.
So my true suspect guys are, I mean, you know, Oubre has to be, but you know, Malik Beasley's look good. You know, it's waiver wire pickup. Can't, you know, the couple of guys mentioned to mine were, you know, same boat. But you know, you got Oubre, Beasley. You know, I'm not a fan of Valanciunas long term, even though he's looked great, and Brandon Clark hasn't panned out. Ibaka, I don't like. He's never been serviceable in fantasy. He's been very efficient, so I understand why he's been owned so far. But he's like Harrison Barnes on the Kings. I feel like, you know, he's just another guy. And then I don't like Bogdanovich. I feel like that last name is cursed in points leagues. And then Kyle Kuzma, I'm also not a fan of, and so it's
Kuzma was picked up because he has games.
I feel it, but it's more. I mean, I can like this. So there's like more players that I like less than players on my team. So it's I was between mine and, you know, and Chris was actually honestly in a similar situation, and so was Donald. There was a lot of players that haven't panned out yet, but that I do like. So that's why I put Donald first, because there's a lot of players that I like of his, but when looking at Chris's team, I put Chris second. And it was more because there's less holes, and outside of, you know, I see 3 players on his team. There was like I wrote 4 on my notes, but I only see 3 that I'm concerned about, which it seems like if you have 3, or 4, I guess you're in a good spot. So with him, it was, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, and Al Horford are all, suspect. But outside of that, the which he can pick up someone else. It's,
Right.
same with what I can do or you can do. So, if you have that solid of a core and, with Bam and, he picked Zion in a good spot. He's in a good spot, and he has a lot of all-star caliber. And we all have concern towards Anthony Davis, and if Devin Booker can do what he does and pan out like, we hope a little bit, he should be good. And I think Murray will, Jamal Murray is going to be great. He's got OG and Jeremy Grant panned out for him. Lonzo Ball should play a little better. McCollum, breaking out again even more. Gordon Hayward steady. I think Chris is in a very steady spot. And
so it sounds like we all feel like this championship is kind of hinging on whether James Harden strings together an actual season or not.
Yeah, but I mean that's not factoring in any trades and if teams fall apart either.
Only power rankings that matter, yo.
So and then if you look at Donald's, there's less. I mean, his waiver wire pickups were even good. I mean,
he's been hitting.
Harrison Barnes has been great so far. So I mean, he's been one of the top 5 free agent point getter so far. So clear, and then he picked up DeAndre Hunter too. It looks like he might be searching for small forward or something. But
that was the guy I wanted to get next, man.
But I don't like him. Hawks are too deep, and he'll play. He plays a lot of minutes, so I like minutes. And it's like in football, I like touches. I don't care if a guy is, I don't care if he gets 10 touches and is a boom guy. I like guys who are consistent, like David Montgomery, and look what happened. He broke out at the end of the year. So it's about minutes for me. It's about starting. It's about not being old and not being injury prone. If you factor that in, you're going to be set. And that's also why I like Donald's team, dude. If you look at his team, there's not many risks outside of Harden, of course, and Joel Embiid. There's not many risks. And I think he's set up in a good place. I think he's the favorite still. And I'll probably stand by it to this year because there's a lot of players when you do Hero, Barrett, Shea Gilgeous, Harris, Kobe White, Schroeder, Harrell, Gobert. Those are all guys and Michael Porter that were on my breakout list this year, high-end guys that I think were all stolen. And whether or not they got picked where they were supposed to, I think that their value carries more than where they stand.
I'm not going to lie. I also have Donald in my top spot on the rankings, as does Chad. But I don't have him as my season favorite. Wow, we got 45 from DeAndre Hunter.
Well, no, I don't have any favorites. I said 1 through 4. Anyone could win. He's just my number one.
Yeah, agreed. Right now, I think we like his upside the best, all of us. But if I had to put money on a team right now, it would not be his. So, yeah, man, there we go. That's it. That's the power rankings. We all got Donald at 1. Chad and I have Chad at 2. We have Dre at 3. We have Mubu at 4. So, essentially –
why you got Chad at 2, bro?
Because I reward what's happened so far in the season. I think having the top 2 possible point getters is going to drag him to a lot of wins that he.
If you're going off points, how come you're not ranked number 1?
No. I'm talking about record. I'm talking about the fact that he won. And granted, we both know that that record doesn't really mean shit because he's also had the second easiest schedule. For instance, I'm the top scorer in the league, and I've only outscored my opponents by like 8 points or something like that.
You should teach logic. So I'm going to just say I'm also the second highest point getter, so it doesn't matter.
It's a lot of the schedule. I have a very hard schedule this week. Even this week, projected again for a huge week. I'm probably going to lose to Matt and be 1-2. So for me, I take into account the schedule. I think Chad is looking like the easy. He's going to have the easiest schedule. So in terms of, regular season, who's going to finish with a great record, I think Chad's in a decent spot right now. Even if me and Matt both know it's going to fall apart.
Are these rankings regular or playoffs?
What's up?
Are we doing regular season or playoff rank, or like who we think's gonna finish?
These power rankings are just based on like who's gonna have who you'd be most scared to play right now in the regular season is how I did it basically.
And you scared as fuck to
Ain't
play
no scared of Chad. I was talking big shit to you, baby.
Jokic and Westbrook both have 4-game weeks, and they both play those 4 games. You are going to struggle to beat Chad in a week. It's going to be hard right now. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen a lot, but right now it's going to be very hard.
If they spread apart far enough, amen, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we got similar rankings. I think we agree that the top 4 or 5 teams, for Matt, it's 4. For me, it's 5. I'll have a shot at winning it. I think there's 3 clear-cut favorites. I'll save that for a few more weeks from now when we've got a little bit of information. And just lastly, as our final thing, Matt, we just talked about this a little bit with the power rankings, but who are the 2 teams missing the playoffs this year?
I mean, honestly, it's probably between Jake, Ray, and Edouard, but I'm gonna put. I still think Chad's team's in that mix too. So the bottom 5. So it could be any one of those.
Yo, if Chad misses the playoff with Jokic and Westbrook on his team, we can put his career.
It's just 2 players, dude.
We can let him go.
Don't forget about the $100 bet.
Yes, we'll never forget that because we have the evidence now.
Please, yeah, it's on video.
I think it's probably.
Wait, so are we doing regular season or are we doing finals?
What do you mean for? No, who's gonna miss the playoffs right now?
No, that's the bet.
For our bet, what's the bet? Is it regular season? Who finishes with a better record?
Ahead of each other.
Oh no, I'm doing who finishes higher in the playoffs. That's what I'm thinking. Who finishes at the better season?
Same thing to me. Same difference.
That's totally different.
They're gonna work this out on the side.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Hey, to Artie.
We'll catch you up next.
Good shit, fellas.
A good friend of ours passed today. We're
Yeah,
here
RIP.
pouring out for him. Artie, we miss you, dog, and look forward to us all talking a lot more in the new year and taking advantage of being friends, guys.
Sorry about that, fellas. Cheers.
Stay up, brother. Matt, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Matt, your team is gonna get 8, boy.
Cheers, bro.
Don't slide in my DMs neither. Don't slide in my DMs neither.
Bro, only if you owe me money.
No, you was in my DMs last week. How many trade offers you sent?
Bro,